Welcome to another edition of Going Back and Catching Up. It's Dan Austin, and that's exactly what we do on this. We go back and we catch up with famous country stars, famous celebrities, do some reminiscing, find out what they've been up to, and share some cool memories along the way. And I remember when this guy first came on the scene back in the late 80s, early 90s, none other than Billy Dean. And I know he's got some great stories to share. We'll find out what he's up to and how it all started for Billy Dean on this episode of Going Back and Catching Up.
Hello.
Billy Dean, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing so good. We're actually, I'm coming up on 35-year being in the business. So
Wow.
My manager, we're at Red Light Entertainment, Brian, these guys, they said, man, have you thought about maybe reimagining your hits the way you play them kind of live, when I'm doing like a solo acoustic show, I always kind of I play around with the arrangements of those songs, and so we've kind of taken the hits and taken the message and kind of reimagining the music and the melody a little bit, sticking with the key melody lines and then just kind of interpreting these songs now as an older guy, and how the messages hold up. So that's what we'll do. We'll probably do 2 albums this year. We'll do one with the kind of a 35-year thing, reimagining those songs, almost kind of rewriting them, the melody, and then I've got a whole new album of new music coming in the end of spring, I guess, is kind of what our target is. So yeah, trying to capitalize on all this 90s stuff.
So on the reimagining part of the album, so Billy the Kid now becomes Billy the older guy. Is that what you're talking about? Or?
Well, there was when I do Billy the Kid now, I kind of do the sort of a bluesier version of Billy the Kid. I'm being from the South, I was kind of raised on, had a little bit of Southern rock, a little bit of the Allman Brothers, a little bit of, kind of that soul kind of stuff that I never really got to sing anything like that in the 90s because it was just not country sounding, but now you can get away with something. So anyway, Billy the Kid is kind of a little bit, it's kind of like almost like Doobie Brothers' Old Black Water, it's kind of like that vibe, and approaching it different than I've ever approached as far as recording. I tell my guy to turn on the recorder and just let it go. I don't even know what I'm going to record. And I just go out and I play my guitar like I would play if I was sitting on the couch watching TV, just playing for fun. I just play and because we want to kind of focus on, the musician side of my, my craft, and that I never really focused on really that much. But, and so I don't even know what I'm going to sing. I'll just start playing stuff that I like to play. I'll play some old James Taylor licks and things like that. And then I just started singing, like somewhere I started singing some of the lyrics of my hits over some of the stuff I was doing. And some of it works and some of it doesn't. But a lot, especially Only Here for a Little While, is really coming out real special. Man, that was the very first song I ever had out on that hit on radio, and it had a really powerful message. And so yeah, man, it's kind of difficult after singing them a certain way for 30-something years to come in and rethink what they're saying, what songs are saying and how that would affect. So I've kind of been experimenting with it off and on for years, and so it was time to get it down on tape. So we're working on it.
Good for you! I can't wait to hear it. And so the newer stuff's coming out in the spring. Is that what you said, or the
The remakes are coming out it's the first vinyl I've ever done.
Oh, awesome!
So we're gonna make it, a vinyl. We're hoping, April, somewhere like that, and then probably June or July will be the other album with the new stuff. I've got I feel like some of the best songs I've written anyway in years. So
excellent.
I'm anxious to get that out there. Everybody, we all just kind of want to hear the hits, and I'm the same way. But I do think these new songs might get some attention here and there.
Good deal. I look forward to it, man. You just name dropped a couple of your tunes there, and I knew we were going to talk this week, and I started listening to all your songs again. You mentioned Only Here for a Little While, Somewhere in My Broken Heart, If There Hadn't Been You, Billy the Kid. Man, you just start listening to all of them, and go, oh my gosh, I forgot about this one, and trying to start a fire in the dark and Men Will Be Boys. I'm going, oh my gosh, this brings me back 30 years. But if of all the songs that you've recorded, if you were stuck on a Billy Dean island somewhere, which one of those would you want to hear over and over if you could just choose one? And I know it's tough.
Yeah, man, it would probably be something like maybe like Let Them Be Little, and probably be something about that one and Somewhere in My Broken. Those two, Somewhere in My Broken Heart is kind of interesting, even though I had, it was like my first number one and won the Song of the Year. I never felt like I got my vocal right on that.
Really? That's interesting.
And have you listened to the original? I remember this at the very last line is somewhere in my broken heart. And I kind of wobbled on heart, and and my producers wouldn't let me change it because they thought I did it intentionally, because it sounded emotional, and I looked at it as a flaw.
That's hilarious.
That's why you have producers, right?
Yeah, let's stick with it. We want that feeling, Billy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because I do live on an island now, and down in Florida, and
yes.
I kind of moved back to my home state. And I started rewriting. I was kind of reworking the title of the first album, Young Man.
Uh-huh.
And they asked me if I could, could you rewrite that? And I thought, well, I guess I could rewrite it now as an older guy, looking back at what my plan was, when I was young.
Sure.
So that's going to come out really cool. And so, yeah, we never did release that as a single, and that was the title of the first album. I had Somewhere in My Broken Heart and Only Here for a Little While that hit off that first album. We thought the Young Man song would be coming next, and they just wanted to go on, and I had a bunch of new songs. They wanted, Billy the Kid and all those songs were waiting in the wings, Only to Win, You Don't Count the Cost, all of that. We had those ready to go, and so they said, let's just go on and record, a new album. So that second album really had, I think 4 top 5 songs or something like that on it. So it's kind of cool to go back and revisit some of these.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You bring me back to another place, man, when you start talking about all this stuff. And, I even went back to before that place, the first time we met back in Chicago, but I came across a video, and I never knew this existed before, or if I had, I forgot about it. When you were part of the Wrangler Country Star Search with Dennis Weaver, I'm going, where did this come from? And then you're on there as not Billy, but Howard Dean, which is your middle name. And why you went with Howard at that time, and what prompted the change to Billy?
Harold.
Or Harold, yeah, I'm sorry, Harold, yeah.
Yeah, Harold Dean. So my dad's name was, he didn't have a middle name. My dad's name was Billy Dean.
Right.
He sang. He was a singer. He wasn't famous or anything, but he was a World War II veteran, and he lost 2 brothers in the war, and one of them was named Harold. So he named me William Harold Dean.
Right.
And I never liked the name Harold. That it just never felt like it fit me. But out of respect for my dad and his brother, I never said anything. But when I got to Nashville, my dad had passed away when I just no sooner than I moved to Nashville, and he died real young, 58 years old, and so he loved to sing, and he had a band, and so I thought, I think that people around me, I hadn't met that many people in Nashville anyway, but so I said, well, I'm just going to go by Billy and honor him, and ever since then, man, I've had a lot of conversations with the old man, in front of big marquees out in Las Vegas and New York, and seeing Billy Dean, saying, well, there you are, Dad, there's your name in lights, So it's been So Harold was what I was going by when I did the Wrangler Star Search thing. It wasn't long after that. That's when I switched to Billy.
That's a wild story, because when I was watching that video, I thought he messed up, and then I saw it on the screen, Harold Dean. Well, wait a second, when did I miss this?
Right, and that's kind of what started. I Miss Billy the Kid. His name was Harold Dean. When you change your name, you it's like who you take on a whole nother identity, or you're starting fresh with a different identity because of, and you kind of lose part of yourself, I
Yeah.
think. So that's kind of what kind of started or inspired Billy the Kid, I wrote about Harold Dean.
That's awesome. That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that. Now, I talked about, the first time we met was back in Chicago. You performed at the Cubby Bear, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and you also performed at Navy Pier. And I was doing nights at the time, and you had come back after the show, came up to the
Yep.
studio. We were doing requests, and you were people were calling in asking you to play songs. And then somebody, I don't know if you remember this or not, but somebody called in and said, "Hey, can you sing I Swear?" And I went, that's not even Billy's song. Can you pick something else? And you, like the true pro you were, you go, "No, I'll do it." And you strummed your guitar and did that song.
Oh, man, I'm a fan. I think we all get into this business, right, because we're fans. We start off as fans of other people's music, and my buddy Frank Myers, who was I'd known from years, was a songwriter on that song, and so I was always singing it around anyway, and I know probably 400 or 500 songs. I could sit down with the guitar and play just because that's how I was able to pay my bills before I had a record deal and everything. I was on the kind of the Florida circuit, beach circuit, playing out on the back decks and things like that. So it came in handy because I've had to when you're having to make a living singing songs from different genres, and what I fell in love with was that kind of light, soft rock of the 70s, the Eagles and James Taylor and Fogelberg and things like that. And that's kind of what I was trying to do when I came to Nashville. I had already was very well schooled on classic country, Merle Haggard, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings and all those guys, and Jim Reeves, Marty Robbins, going back to that general, Ray Price. Those were the songs, Hank Williams, songs my dad sang. But when I became a teenager, and wanted to, get the girls' attention, I was trying to sing what was on the radio at the time then, and that was those, the rock music. All the singers were like tenors. I'm a baritone, so I couldn't really sing along with rock music because it wasn't even in my key.
Yeah.
But the people that I could sing along to was like Glenn Frey from the Eagles and James Taylor, and I had the same voice register, So that was kind of creeped into my country music career when I moved to Nashville. And instead of trying to cross me over to be something I wasn't, I was really trying to bring those listeners that couldn't find a home, that loved Southern rock or light rock or that folky, rock music, trying to get them to listen to country because a lot of my friends were making the similar kind of music, like Susie Boggess and Clint Black. Even even though he's a country guy, but he grew up with the same kind of music.
Yeah,
it's ironic. We all ended up doing the Common Thread album, which was a tribute to the Eagles, which really fit well. But that was our goal in the '90s was to kind of blend those two worlds, country and that. Kind of light rock, folk rock of the 70s.
Yeah, and on that same wavelength, I mean, you've done songs like that. You mentioned the Common Thread, but also the Beatles, Yesterday. You did We Just Disagree. I mean, there's it's so cool just to hear you do the different tunes like that. And Yesterday that could be my favorite. Come Together is probably my favorite Beatles song, but on that album, Yesterday is definitely one of my favorites on that Beatles tribute album.
Man, thank you for saying that because I had years ago, when that album came out, we were all on Capitol Records. The Beatles were on Capitol Records too. It was just great to be a part of that history. That's why we got to do that project. But the word came back. Don't know if it's true or not, but the word came back was saying that Paul McCartney. That was he had mentioned the Yesterday cut. Being one of his favorites. So I felt that I never got to meet Paul McCartney, and I don't even know if that was true. Maybe the record label they might have just been telling me that. But man, what a stamp of approval. That was one of those things that just kind of came together. I had
I see
my
what you did there.
producer-
Came
man,
together.
and I never really was. I got to sing something down in my lower register, which I wasn't really doing a lot. It's crazy, you start when you're back in those days, you would try to key everything as high as you could so you could have the energy and the power. But Jimmy Bowen, God bless him, man, my producer at that time, wanted to lower it and have do that. So, of course, it's one of the greatest songs of all time. So it was really awesome to get to do that.
Well, I'm glad I could step in for Paul McCartney today and give you that compliment that you never really got right from his face.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That makes me stand about 10 feet taller today. I appreciate it.
Billy Dean is my guest here, and you've toured with Alan Jackson and the Judds and Kenny Rogers. Do you have some favorite memories or a favorite memory from those years on the road, a story that you'd want to tell about?
Oh my gosh. So I had this is one funny story. When I was out with the Judds, of course, Naomi and Winona, they were always at each other's throat, and we were followed their bus all the time. And Winona and I were similar, close in age, and if you can imagine, going up and down the road, spending years on a bus, with your mom, So I'd say, come ride my bus. We'll play some poker. We play poker. She'd never played poker, and so we got to know each other during that tour. And I'd never been anywhere. I was so excited to. We were in Niagara Falls, and I remember going over and knocking on the Judds door, on the bus door, and Winona, it was early in the morning. Winona answers the door, and Naomi's standing right behind her, and I said, "Come on, Winona, let's go. We're at Niagara Falls. Let's go. She goes, "Honey, I've been here 6 times already." And she was always paying. We'd go out. I didn't have, the money wasn't coming in yet.
Yeah.
It was in the pipeline, but it wasn't in my mailbox yet, and so I'd never had a credit card in my life, and I finally got a corporate card, and I think it had like a $2,000 limit on it, and I was supposed to use that for fuel to get back from California. We were playing out there at Pebble Beach, and Winona took me to dinner, and I had to have a jacket on the, I'd never been to any kind of restaurants like this. Anyway, we'd had 2 or 3 bottles of wine or whatever, expensive wine, and when it came time to pay, I had this credit card. I said, "I got this," and she started laughing. She goes, "Billy, you don't want to do that." And I know I got my old testosterone kicked in. I was like, "No, I got this." She goes, she tried so hard to talk me out of it, and she couldn't. And so and the bill, I think it was like $1,000, and it was like a $500 tip, and I only think I had like $500 left, and Naomi had to give me money to put in my bus to get back to Nashville.
Oh wow, that's a great story.
Oh my God,
little sticker shock there, right?
Yeah, no kidding. I'd never been anywhere, seen anything like that, and it was really cool. I learned a lot being out there, and Why is still one of my best friends. Man, she's like a sister. And man, she's singing better than she's ever sung.
Yeah, she's always had that voice, man. A lot of soul, and she just always thought she had, if not the best, one of the best voices in any genre of music. She's just so soulful.
Yeah, man, and she just gets better with time,
I see that you and your wife Stephanie are going to be celebrating 20 years. Am I right? This May? Is it 20?
Yeah, 20? Okay. Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
All of your songs, what best describes all your years together? If you had to pick one Billy Dean song, what would you pick?
Oh, let's see. Loving you is what I do. Probably loving you is what I do. Might be the one that does that because, there's a lot of people that, that really, a lot of folks in this business, it becomes their life. The job becomes your life. Being a country music center, it's all your identity. It's like, identify as a country singer in the country music business, and you give your whole life to that, but we had really created a family life with the kids and her and I, and I had that separation. This is what I do for work. But
Right.
this is what I live for. I live to be home, and being with the kids and her. That's what I do for a living. And that was a pivotal point for me of separating the two. I found like, that I really, we needed to have that separation of what was real and what wasn't, And really at that point is when, it wasn't long after that I started working and writing songs like Let Them Be Little, more family, kind of oriented songs. And so, love and use what I do. It's the one thing I found I can put my heart into. It's who I am, all that good stuff. That would be it.
Now, how tall is Stephanie? Because I'm 6'4". I know you're like 6'5", 6'4", somewhere in that area, right?
Yeah, she's tiny.
Okay.
She's like maybe 5'5", or 5'6", something like that.
See, well, my wife is 5'1", so I'm thinking that the duration, because we've been married 30 plus years. You're going on 20, so there must be something in the height. The height differential that adds to the years. It
must be. I thought if that girl looks as good from the front as she does from the back, I'm going to marry her.
Oh, that's great. Well, I really appreciate all the time. I just want to put you through a little game here real quick, and then we'll let you fly. It's celebrities with two first names trivia, like Billy Dean, okay? I'll give you a little clue. You tell me who the person is. These are all famous people. I hope they're famous. Yeah, they're all famous. Okay. Hunger Games and Oscar-winning actress.
Okay. Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, okay, very good. Off to a flying start here. All right, older actor with a deep voice that women, including my wife, love.
Would it be Sam? Oh, what was his last name?
Yeah, you're on the right path here.
Sam. I can see him in the Dude, man. Sam Elliott.
Yeah. Yes. All the women love him. The guy's like, I don't know, he's like 80 or 90, and I hope he's not younger than that because anyway, moving right along.
I love where he goes, only you can prevent forest fire.
Was he Smokey Bear? Was he the voice of him?
He was here lately.
I did not know that. All right. I learned something. All right. Famous actor that is also the voice of Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, Tim the Tool Man. What was his last name? Tim. God dog it. I'm having a bad time with the last name. Tim.
Yeah, you're right on top of the first names.
I know. Tim.
Starts with an A.
I'm at a loss. Tim. What was it?
Allen.
Tim Allen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
All right, two more. Spider-Man's secret identity. Are you a Spider-Man fan?
Oh, yeah.
His secret.
Oh, it's Spider-Man's name?
Yeah, his secret identity. What is it?
Again, Peter. Can't remember the last name. Peter. Wait a minute. I almost had Peter. Man, I'm hitting 50% today.
It's Parker. Peter Parker.
Peter Parker, yes.
All right, this last one I think is a shoe-in for you. Let's see. The NFL's greatest of all time and 7-time Super Bowl winner.
Okay. The greatest of all that's got to be, the New England Brady. Tom Brady.
Yeah, there you go. Got them both for the exciting conclusion.
That just tells you I watch too much TV.
Hey, man, I totally get it. That's a lot of stuff. I appreciate you playing along, and hope to see you here week after next. We're trying to arrange it to get out to the Blue Gate and see you, man. It's been a long, long time.
Oh man, I would love that, and I love Shipshewana up there. I tell you, it's been. I always laugh. Those are the happiest horses I've ever seen. I love going to the gym and seeing all the Amish buggies and the horses. Man, those horses is like. I get tickled all the time because you can see them competing with each other when they're going down one will be going down one side of the road, one will be the other, and they're just eyeing each other. Those horses are.
Oh, that's great!
Hilarious.
I appreciate the time and look forward to the new stuff, the new/old stuff coming out later this year.
Sounds great, man. Thank you so much.
Podcasts by Federated Media.